George, my man, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. Much appreciated.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience, as this studio was an absolute bomb site about 5 minutes ago. You came in, there was guys drilling in the wall. It's like, what the heck's going on here?
It looks pretty professional now, though, to be fair. So fair play to the men for getting it sorted.
Yeah, shout out to the handymen. Gentlemen, can you even see them in the wide shot? Are they there in the background? If you can see them, you know who you are. Blue jacket, black t-shirt. We love you. Thank you so much for our new studio. Big up, exactly. So I was coming in on the bus this morning. I was like, parkour is kind of one of those things where it's maybe a weird way to say it, but it's kind of like a virus. As in, like, no one at maybe 12 years old is like sitting in their like wee small Northern Irish town and just decides to do parkour until they see somebody else doing it.
Exactly, yeah. That's it. That's exactly like even for me how it started. Like I'm 25 now, so when I was say 10 plus, like YouTube was at its boom. So I saw videos like of people doing parkour online. I was like, this is insane. Like I'd never seen anyone doing this ever, because it was a new sport, so it was like a new thing. Like it was like a fad back then. Like and then I actually saw exactly what you're saying. I saw a guy doing it in my town, locally. Like he jumped, it's about 8 foot up. He jumped between two walls, and I was just like gobsmacked, like completely couldn't believe it. So, as you say, that's what got me into it. Like seeing it with my own eyes, like thinking, oh, this thing that I've watched on the internet is actually real. Like there's people here in Northern Ireland, in Carrickfergus, doing that.
Mad.
So when I seen that was like the instant thing. I was like, I need to learn how to do that.
There always has been something about, like, I don't know, you can maybe explain more than me, but there seems to be somewhat of a really loose thread between like skateboarding, parkour, like anything where you see somebody do something, you're like, how did they do that? And you just are like, I need to figure out how.
That's it, yeah. I think it's just like, you're just curious, like, how can someone commit? Like, that was me watching that as a kid, like being super small. I was like, how like could he jump that far physically? But now, like, going back, this is like 14 years ago now, it's like I can do the jump standing still really easily. So it's like your perception changes. But back then, like, not being able to do it, you want to know what that felt like. So it's same with skateboarding, same with all extreme sports. I would say it's like you watch it, you admire it, and then you want to know what it feels like yourself. And that pushes you to actually trying it. So.
It's interesting as well, like whenever you're a kid, everything feels so much bigger.
Exactly.
So like that
100%.
wall, you know, you're like, what?
Yeah.
Or I even remember, like,
exactly.
You know, or we were chatting about Samuel Lemon before recording.
Yeah.
There. I even remember, like, I was grown ass man whenever I saw him do this, but I still, that child part of me was like, what do you mean he's climbing balls in the falls? What do you mean he's on top of Nula with the hula? It's like, that's not humanly possible.
He has did some crazy climbs, actually. Like, he's did some really, really gnarly ones. He did Victoria Square as well.
Yeah,
he never released the footage, I don't think, but there you go. Maybe it's not true. Speculation.
There you go. Yeah. Just there's a wee legal lawyer loophole right there.
Maybe it's not true.
Yeah, allegedly.
But we heard that he climbed Victoria Square.
So, you know, I like everyone in this room here. We're joined today by Mark, producer Oscar. The boys are back in town, and we all have grown up in the YouTube era. We've all seen some crazy things from a very young age. There are some of us, and it stops there.
Yeah.
Why did you then take it the whole way?
I can't even explain. Like, I actually learned how to do a backflip before I did parkour and knew what parkour was, because I just had a garden trampoline, and then I just learned, like, just like basically as you do with your friends, messing about the trampoline, I learned how to do a backflip. And then I remember I did like a back handspring, which is where you do a backflip and use your hands on the ground. So I did that on the grass in my garden, and then from there I just kind of stopped there. And I was always that kid, like people in school were like, that guy can do a backflip. Ask him. If you ask him to do a backflip, he'll do it.
The backflip kid.
Yeah, literally is that kid. Like
everyone,
anywhere you
every
went.
school has that. It's like there's the donut kid, the beatbox kid, the backflip kid.
Every school has it as a kid that can do a backflip. I feel like, and I was that kid. And then, as I said, once YouTube started booming, I'm on the dial-up internet and seeing like the videos of it. Like,
are you dial-up era as well?
Well, just about.
Wait, when were you born?
Just about 97.
Unbelievable.
So just about dial-up. I remember you did manually connect the internet every time you turned on your computer. Not like now, we just auto-connect the Wi-Fi. But
what was the thing? You could maybe tell me, Mark. It's like, if the phone rang, the internet connection?
Internet went off.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
That's
it's what we had. Yeah, like the internet just dropped. while when the phone rang, and then you'd hang up the phone. It would
You're
take,
on mini clip trying to like
literally,
play RuneScape.
yeah.
You're like, no,
Man,
grab me.
I played RuneScape so much too.
Did
So
you?
it's so funny. Yeah,
Mate, talk to me.
Yeah, do you play RuneScape? Did you?
I loved it. Like it was my like gateway drug into gaming was RuneScape. And it literally was. It was mini clip playing like Monkey Snowball.
Yeah, that's
something.
so funny.
And then I hated Club Penguin, and then RuneScape. I was like,
Yeah, Club Penguin was just like there was no objective of Club Penguin. It was like it's just a social chat room basically.
But RuneScape was like
there was
you
actual,
can be
like,
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like there and I feel like RuneScape was like there was like you needed to actually use your brain. Like, see, to do some of the skills and quests
Big
and stuff.
flex.
Like, exactly, yeah.
You're
exactly.
like, anyone who doesn't play RuneScape is a moron.
Mate, honestly, like, it's so, like, I got the, I played the old school servers as well when they came out and stuff, and, like, still occasionally would still play pretty much now, like, so.
This is, we're going to lose everybody.
We're losing everyone here with RuneScape.
The niche is good. I actually was chatting to a mate the other day, and I said that I'd say most of my business chops come from playing RuneScape.
Yeah.
Because you would merchant, so you would buy and sell in the marketplace.
Center,
yeah. You're like longsword 20k. Who takes it?
Yeah. You go buy another one cheaper and then sell it again. That's what I mean. Like,
you're flipping.
As you said, like, there are actually skills came from playing that game. It's not like Club Penguin where it's just a social chat room. It's like there was actually like there was maths involved, and like there was loads of puzzles in the quests and stuff. So it's like very interesting. But yeah, that was a mini clip watching that stuff. Like, it was just like, as I said, I was the backflip kid, so I could already do like some stuff. And then when I saw them videos of parkour, I was like, straight away, I was like literally not even exaggerating. Like, I literally went out instantly. I was like looking for walls to jump off. I was like, oh, it started off as just literally me and my friends would go out and be like, what's the highest thing we can jump off and roll and be okay? Yeah. So just like look for big walls on the grass or whatever, we'd be like, jumping, like go into the estates where I live in Carrickfergus and like go onto the people's garages and like jump off people's garages onto the grass and stuff. So that's basically just how it started, and then it progressively leveled up there quite safely, to be honest.
Yeah. So. That's interesting. I feel like there's a common thread, again, it's a weird thing to say, between drug addicts and people who like extreme sports. Yeah. And the what I'm talking about specifically is you do something to a certain level, and then instantly you're like, I need to do more. You need to see how far. Yeah, I need to do the next thing.
Yeah, 100%. I've actually seen that. Yeah, that with a lot of people. It's like you want to always see what the maximum is. It's like, okay, I've drank 1 beer. Yeah. Can I drink 50 beers? You know what I mean? It's like there's no like... You want to go all 100% at things, which is good in ways, but can also be detrimental if it's in that sense where it's...
So you say that you progress quite safely. That's quite encouraging to know. See, my life's being flipped on its head now because I said to you, our second daughter was just born there, and I'm now like seeing her on a different way. Before, like even like 3 years ago, I'd have been like, yeah, go for it. Now I'm like, no, be careful, kids.
I'm sure it's different when it's your own child. Like I'm sure I can imagine it's very different.
So how and why did you do it safely?
It's not even that you wanted to. It's like trying to commit to things that were super scary. For example, things I was seeing in videos, I wasn't ready to do that yet. And even like just trying to go for it, you're a bit too scared. You don't know what it's going to feel like. So just progressing safely, like starting, like for example, it's as easy as starting with a 2-foot jump, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot. You know what I mean? You're doing things that are very safe ground level. So we were finding spots like a lot of like flower beds and stuff that were super low level. Yeah. And super, Mark will know some of the spots that are like super low level. It's basically just walls with soil. So it's super safe. And then you can just basically try and max out your physical potential. So you can know how far you can jump. And then you go to actual spots with, say, a little bit of consequence. The walls are maybe 6 foot high. And you can know safely that you can jump. So that's like a safe progression. And then also getting into salto and stuff, like a lot of gyms do freestyle gymnastics classes, which is what we went to because back then there was no parkour gyms, no parkour parks because the sport was still like, it wasn't even a sport yet, really. It was just a hobby. So getting in there and then being able to test your body safely in an environment where things were soft then helped massively. And again, that's a slow progression because you do the skills in the gym, maybe on some mats, spring floor, and then you take that outside when you're comfortable.
Great.
And then that's, it's safe. It's much safer than what people would assume. Most people think like if you show them a video of whatever parkour is like doing something super hard, they're like, oh, I can't believe you just went out and did that. But it's like it's not the same as anything. It's built up. It's not the way it is. It's a lot safer than what people would expect.
And in some ways, it's like the video piece is like the performance.
Exactly.
It's like professional athletes. Like if you think like I don't know, rugby players, American football players, like they're not spending every single second of training getting a concussion.
Exactly.
But they'll go out and they'll do it in that one moment.
It's like not one. It's the same as parkour. Like you'll do your hardest jumps 0.1% of the time. Like you know, sometimes you'll hit a real maximum, real scary jump. Maybe you'll hit your maximum distance jump quite a lot, but in a really extreme circumstance, maybe across 2 roofs or 2 super high things, like it's not that common. Like, and even when you do, as you say, you've built yourself up, same as rugby players, American football, whatever, you've trained your body into that state of being able to do that. When you get to the stage where you need to commit, it should be safe. And if it isn't safe and you don't feel ready to commit, then you shouldn't do it. That's what I always say to the younger kids coming up. I'm like, if you're like terrified and you don't feel like you want to do this, don't do it. Like when you're ready, you should know. You get that feeling of like, okay, it's time. I'm gonna do it.
Love it. I'm just picturing like Neo in the Matrix.
Literally, it's like you need to make that decision. Like you need to make that conscious decision. Like even what Mark's done about a parkour, so he knows. Like even before you start running at something that's a little bit scary, you need to know, like have that being like, right, I'm gonna do it. And if you don't have that feeling, then sometimes you can push it. You can push the boundary and you can push past the fear, but that's still good. But I don't think if you're completely uncomfortable doing something that you should commit to it.
I didn't know you were Toby Maguire holding out on me, producer Mark.
Not quite. No. The disclaimer, didn't train nearly as much as George did.
Yeah, but you still got to a good level.
Did it for a couple of years.
Yeah, you still got to a good level.
Yeah, it was good.
Unreal.
But yeah, 100%, like what you're saying, of especially training with other people. I noticed that because I didn't realize it was actually a sport during my teenage years. I only started, I think I met you when I was like 19 or something.
Yeah, at the playground, I think.
Yeah. So like,
how rustic is that? Like at the playground?
No, it's the gym. It's the name of a gym. I know that sounds like
I pictured like a wee like this sweet, amazing Northern Irish nostalgia.
Yeah, that sounds super weird. No,
that does sound strange. Yeah,
that's a parkour purpose.
We're
facility.
cool. It's actually a really sweet location.
That's a parkour gym in West Belfast. So if anyone's interested in parkour, search the playground.
Yeah, very cool.
But no, it really was when you were training with others. It went from that kind of. All of a sudden, there was a group of people that could see your limits as well.
Yeah, see your potential.
And there were so many times I remember out training with you that you would have seen something you want to do.
Yeah.
You could be at that spot for 2 or 3 hours, working up kind of
of course,
progressions
it's
to
normal.
it, working up all that kind of things. Yourself as well, like some of the stuff you were doing where it was doing the first half of it, the second half of it, stringing them together, and all that kind of thing, and doing that with the group of people around you.
Exactly. It's really good because you bounce off each other's energy. You know, it's like, so you've been there, it's like, and having your friends be like, oh, you know, you could get that. Like, they see you preparing a jump, maybe you're jumping to the side of the wall or something, you're like, oh, you know, if I say to Mark, oh, Mark, you've got that. It's good to bounce off each other's energy, which again actually makes it safer, in my opinion, because you're getting a second opinion from other people about whether, do you know what I mean? Like, I'll say to, especially younger guys, like if they're trying to prepare something and I'm like, I'll say to them, you know, I don't think you should try that because like the preparation you're doing is like it's a bit of a wild sand, as people would say these days. Like the sand is a bit heavy, like it's like a 40% outcome of being good probably. So it's like, it's all about passing on the knowledge, I think, of being training safely.
Yeah.
And with the gym it's good because the gym, parkour gym, like there's movable boxes so you can just make things modular and move and whatever. So it's all different sizes, so you can that again is building it safely. So that's the main thing about parkour. It's much safer than what people think.
Very cool. Is there a difference between parkour and free running?
I mean, there is this old thing, like back in the day, people would really argue about it. Like they'd say,
did you get the fly? No. Oh, he shot a shot. He went for the send. I don't even know if I'm using that word properly.
There was like a mod back in the day, like, oh, free run is where you do loads of flips, and parkour is where you do jumps. Like people would say, oh, you move efficiently from one point to another using your body, like A to B with no flips. And then people said free running was more like acrobatic.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But now it's just like, I always, to be honest, I generalized it all as parkour. In my head, I'm like, and people see it more this way now. Like if you're doing movement, whether it's acrobatics, you know, just jumping, vaulting, whatever, like through some sort of urban environment, it's all parkour to me. Like, you're going out of your way to do something creative on a space outside. To me, it's parkour. So
always urban environment.
I mean,
it's hard to do in a field, but like if
you can though, you can just do. I suppose you can just do acrobatics and stuff in a field. Like you got a patch of grass.
You're just jumping through a field.
Then you're just kind of doing gymnastics and flips.
What about like wild, like through?
You can get like forests sometimes have real good spots and stuff, like random arrangements of trees, and like swinging from stuff is the big thing in parkour. So there is some spots you find like, and there'll be like trees and stuff, and you can swing from like tree to tree and stuff, like monkey type things. So it's like that's cool as well. It's just harder to come by them spots.
Sure.
Because it's nature, and obviously it's not like there's not, you know, 2 concrete benches 6 feet apart, perfectly all angled,
architected.
Yeah, which is also safer. You can put your trust in them concrete blocks. But yeah, there is some good nature spots. Even just nature spots, like in general, parkour would be very linked to like cliff jumping and stuff. Like it makes sense, like flipping into water. So finding things like that in nature then is always cool.
Yeah,
as well.
Cool. And so in terms of like, and I'm literally going off like 13-year-old boy YouTube knowledge, right? There seemed to be like a bit of a parkour scene in places like, I'm going to say France. I'm going to say places like Berlin. I'm going to say like...
Europe.
You know, places where you see like, you know, mad YouTube videos of like graffiti
gangs
as well.
Yeah, well, that's where it originated. So parkour's originated in France.
Oh, is it French?
In Nice-Evry, which is like an hour outside Paris. So it's like a little... Is it a city? It's not very big. If it is a city, it's a super small town city. Kind of like Belfast. Actually, no, even smaller, I would say.
Yeah.
But it originated there with a group called like Yamakasi, and they just like started parkour. And well, they didn't start parkour. People have been doing parkour forever. Like humans have done parkour forever. But they put a name to it. Do you know what I mean? And they were like actually training on how to land, how to condition their bodies, like basically doing calisthenic sort of movements to make their body strong, so that they could. And then from that's when the videos started rolling out, like early internet. Even before YouTube, there was like forums. I've heard the older guys talk about, like before YouTube, there was forums. People would talk about, like there was a page called Parkour Ireland, which I actually did experience when I just started, but it was like, you go on and people would just be like posting each other, like sending each other videos via like email and stuff, like of them doing moves, and then there would be like, because there was nowhere to share your content, or like nowhere to gain knowledge, or like people wanted to meet up on a Saturday to train. It's like you had to just use this forum because it was the only forum. If there's no group chats or
that wasn't no signal.
That wasn't a thing yet. It's 10p per text. Do you know what I mean? So it's like no group text or anything. So yeah,
I have a mate. He's a little bit older in the context. Like he's maybe like 40.
Yeah,
and he would have done quite a lot of skating back in the day, and he like talks about people literally sending each other VHSs.
Yeah, man, because there's no other way. Like,
and like looking at a trick, and then like the whole, all the kids in the neighborhood studying the trick. Like,
man.
Here, watch from 4 minutes to 7 minutes. We're gonna figure out how to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's no other back then. Like there was no other way. It's like unless you're seeing it in person, that was tapes. The only, you know what I mean? Like back then, skateboarding culturally is a big thing because that's when they were making like paid films. Like they'd literally sell films, like skating films. You'd have all the pro skaters in the film, and they'd all each have their own part, and then they would sell the VHS. Say Element Skate Team, would make a video and they'd sell it, and people would buy it. And as you say, like as a kid, you would probably just watch that video over and over and over, trying to like dial in on the techniques, and like it's crazy. But it needs to go back to that. I think like paid projects like that is very cool, and like for a sport like skateboard and for parkour, it's needed. I think because YouTube now is a big thing, I suppose, but it's not the same long-lasting content. It's quick, digestible. Oh, this kept me entertained for 10 minutes. Now I'll watch the next video of something else.
It's the challenge of content today as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Like I really am interested in what a lot of musicians have to say about like the difference between streaming a song on Spotify versus buying a CD album, or whatever, even pre-CDs.
It was cool. Like I remember buying CDs as a kid, like buying like Green Day CDs and stuff when I was really young, and it was sick. Like you have to have the physical copy. It was like there's something real.
But you had to study it, as in you get your pocket money. It's like, this is your one CD this month.
Yeah, exactly.
And you listen to it like 40 times. Even if you don't like it, you listen to it, and then it grows on you.
Portable CD player.
Oh, the wee Walkmans.
You'd run with it in your pocket and it would skip. Like you'd have the headphones in, it'd be way in your pocket.
But there's a lack of permanence. You use the word evergreen.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. People will listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, even movies, it's like, what movies have you seen?
Multiple
times. There's probably 5 movies that I've seen more than, between 5 and 10 movies.
Yeah, I would agree. No, I'd be the same. Yeah.
Podcast episodes, maybe 3 podcasts I've listened to more than once.
Yeah, I'd be the same. There's a couple that I've listened to, but it's like, it's more, just the way things are moving now in general. People can't, the concentration of people isn't as great as like when I was a kid. I had videos, and like I watched them videos all the time, like whatever it was. Like I remember having the first Star Wars, whatever. I literally watched it probably like 40 times as a kid, just because like you just have it, like the physical copy. I feel like it's more appreciative, and it's like it's actually tangible. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're holding whatever it is, CD, a video, you're holding it in your hand. It's like there's something different about that. So it's like streaming, especially for music artists, as you say. I think it's a very weird era. And then also it's like, is there more money in that? Is there not? I don't know.
Well, now, like, again, I'm just totally stealing what I was listening to the other day. The musician was saying that back in the day, you would go on tour to sell
the
your
CD,
CDs. And now you stream to sell tours. So the money of the industry has totally
backwards.
flipped on its head.
It's backwards.
And look, you're talking
That's
about
the same
cool,
though.
With parkour. You know,
it's kind of cool.
Yeah, used to be paid projects. Or sorry, for skateboarding. Used to be paid projects.
Yeah, now
it's more streamy.
Yeah,
so
now it's more like online sponsors. Yeah, it'll be more like online sponsors who like say, what's a skate company? Vans, just the first skate company that came to my head. Like, you know, Vans are going to pay you X amount to post a skate clip every week for a year, for example, like a year contract.
Yeah.
Like it's gone from making paid films because that was the only way that there could bring revenue. And well, not the only way, because skateboarding's different in parkour in the way that there's a tool. So there's a skateboard, there's whatever, there's clothing, there's parkour clothing, obviously, but there's no tool. Parkour, you just use your body, so that's a huge problem, I think, in the industry of like trying to get money in. It's like there is no tool. Anyone can do parkour, but that's something that's also great about it. It's like any kid, if they've got half decent trainers, can go out and start doing parkour.
Yeah.
They don't have to buy a 150 quid skateboard.
Yeah.
But then again, from an industry standpoint, it's hard because how do you fund bigger projects to push the sport forward if there isn't a lot of money being pushed in by things like that? So it's,
So where does your money come from? Because we were chatting kind of the pre-chat while the lads were drilling stuff into the wall. You said that, you know, you left school and you've only, like, parkour's been your thing. It's been your revenue generator. Yeah. It's what you've done. That's phenomenal. Like, you know, the classic, we talked to a lot of people in this room on the show that have had alternative career paths.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much more alternative than you.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, because the careers advice teacher, you know, maybe they could wrap their head around, okay, this person's going to be a singer, this person's going to be a rapper. What? They're gonna?
Oh man, I heard it so much. Like people are just like parkour, but like even coming out of school, like I didn't even intend on taking it this far. Like I did, like probably want to get into something else, but then, people always said they're like no, that's not a thing. Like that'll never be a thing. There'll never be, because this is even before like social media really really boomed, where you could make real money off that stuff. So this was before that, so people are always like, oh, parkour, it's, you know what I mean, that's, you're just running about and flipping off walls and whatever. So people are like, that'll never happen as a career path. Luckily for me, as we were talking about before, I got into the coaching aspect because I knew obviously that was like a certain, you make money coaching parkour.
Yeah.
So I coached parkour. We had a big setup in an indoor skate park, T13. You might have heard of it from back years ago, but it was a indoor skate park in Titanic Quarter.
That's right.
So we had a big parkour setup in there, like a foam pit, everything, loads of boxes, bars to swing on and stuff. So top parkour there pretty much full time. And then from that, social media started coming up, and I was seeing other parkour athletes having success in that kind of thing. So I just like went fully into it. I was like, right, this is the time, it's now or never. You're only young now, so your body's only this healthy for so long. So I just started trying to push myself then, and it was as simple as, there was no like real method behind it. It was just go out, push yourself as hard as possible, try and get as good clips, short form content clips for Instagram as possible, and then post them and see what happens. Like that, it was not like really confusing. Like it was just like that was how it was, and then eventually got noticed by like some parkour companies, got some sponsorships, was able to travel, like get paid to travel to some events and stuff, and then meet other people, and then through that then get onto other jobs. And then again, Instagram boomed even more. Social media in general boomed even more. So then it was like, then companies would come to you with paid promotions. Then Instagram started doing the paid reels in the last couple of years. So it's like, then it just made a whole revenue stream. That plus the other weird work you would get from parkour, like different performances, stunt jobs and stuff like that. So it's, coming from school and doing it, as you said, like no one thought that it would be a thing. Even me, like I didn't think it would be a real thing. I thought I would just do the coaching for a while until I would figure out what I actually wanted to do. Yeah. So it was like a side thing, and then turned out to be.
What's the weirdest job? Like, what's the weirdest thing you've transacted money for?
Man. I actually, like, I've did this a couple times now. So I did for the Duke of Richmond. I did a private performance for the Duke of Richmond.
How private?
Like pretty like, so for him and like all his celebrity friends, like
Hilarious.
trying to think of some celebrities that were there, like Anne Robinson from The Weakest Link.
Class. And Big Anne was there.
She was there. Like Kevin McLeod from Grand Design. There was like a lot of people there, but off the top of my head, like I didn't recognize a lot of them. But I did a private performance for him because he runs the world's biggest dog show called Goodwoof, which is in Chichester in England, and he wanted us, so me and two of the other guys, we Parkour Collective. It's basically like we just put ourselves together, me and three other professional parkour athletes, and made a group for commercial purposes, to get jobs. I guess so. They reached out to us, and he was like, "Yep, I want you to dress up as a ninja. I'm gonna have this. I'm having this private garden party with all the VIPs. Like, I want you to come, jump off my roof, cause a big scene, like smash all drinks off a table and everything. Like you're gonna hold up the place and then do some acrobatics and then just bail."
Class.
So that was like probably up there with one of the weirdest ones.
That's probably up there.
And
with
he
one of the
loved
weirdest
it.
jobs ever.
He loved it so much that we did it again this year.
Same crowd, different crowd, because
No, we did it. It was slightly different. What we did this time, it wasn't as. It was a bit more just like relaxed. It wasn't as, we weren't dressed as ninjas, luckily, this time, because that was a bit. I was like, met all them celebrities, but they don't even know what I look like because I'm wearing a ski mask.
Boo.
Yeah, but it was still cool. And then as I said about the dog festival, then we did a performance as well at that, which was like a public thing.
Yeah,
but that's definitely probably up there with one of the weirdest.
Oh mate, you'd love to get a follow from Anne from The Weakest Link. Like,
Man, I love it.
What a
big
hero.
flex. Watch that every night with my family. Like
that's what
while
I
the
mean.
dinner, while
She's-
you're eating the dinner.
She's goated. Like,
yeah, while
instantly
your
goated.
dinner is on. I bet she's a much nicer person than you would anticipate
Fuck
from the
yeah.
show.
Well, I mean,
that was a persona. That was a
well,
character.
would you say, do you have a persona online?
Nah, I would say like pretty just like normal to what. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything that I didn't. I wouldn't post anything that I didn't enjoy or I don't believe in. I wouldn't share anything that I don't enjoy or wouldn't believe in. So yeah, I'd say I'm pretty authentic in that way.
It's cool.
Like my content is basically just parkour. It's not like I just have to talk to the camera and pretend to be someone that I'm not. It's like for me it's easy because I just jump off things and record it. So.
Yeah, it's interesting though because like, you know, you're a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Right.
Technically, yeah.
And you're also a professional content creator. And I don't think people give guys like you enough credit for how much work you need to put into refining your editorial taste, understanding what works, the recording, the editing, all that sort of stuff. It's a separate thing.
It is. It's easier in parkour because it's short form content. So it's like even what I post is very like I'll go out and film like maybe a load of clips and then I then think about the algorithm, which I suppose is a skill. Like you're trying to hit that algorithm, which obviously is forever.
That's what I'm saying, mate. There's
forever
changing.
changing.
Guys getting paid $80K a year to do it for clients, and you're learning to do it yourself.
Exactly. So it's forever changing the algorithm. So it's like trying to make things quick and snappy. And as we keep saying about people's concentration, like you need to make it so like one clip goes into the next. It's like boom, 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 boom. So people don't see you running for 5 seconds at a jump, and before you've even hit the first jump, they just scroll past the post. Do you know what I mean? So it needs to be very like you're making it in a way that you're like, I want people to watch this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose it is a skill, and then learning what works and what doesn't. So it's trial and error, you know, over the years of, and then they made reels and everything went upside down because TikTok was introduced, and then they want to hit the algorithm, which is cool because it means anyone can go viral.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have 0 fault, which I think is cool because before, like on Instagram stuff, that wasn't the case. Like if you've got, 10 followers, it doesn't matter really what you post. The chance of it going viral was like so slim. But now on TikTok, like you can have 0 followers and you can make one video and get, you can blow up. So it's cool in that way. But yeah, it's the skills it's limited because it depends. Like if you're someone who makes YouTube video long form content, I feel like that can translate into other things better than just short form reels on Instagram.
I wouldn't knock a off. I would say like there's
definitely skills in it.
Companies out there.
Yeah, there's definitely skills in it.
Very hungry for what you have to offer.
I've had a lot of good work with some bigger companies, so it's been good in that way because they read the engagement, so they're looking for someone who can engage on social media platforms. So for me,
You get it?
Did you get it?
Shot number 2. Third strike.
Third
Next
time's the
time.
charm. But yeah, if you can, and if you're they see your profile and you're engaging well, then they're more likely to come to you and say, "Oh, we'll give you X amount to wear this tracksuit and do some flips," because it's like they know at least you're going to engage a certain audience and like, so it's good. And usually with parkour, if you are thinking about the way you film it, that you can get good engagement. So,
was there anything that you like studied? This is kind of back to like the VHS early YouTube days. Like, is there a video that you have watched like hundreds of times?
Man, the video that I actually, it's not even a parkour video. It's called Urban Ninja. Well, it is parkour, but this was before parkour was really a thing. So this is the first video I ever saw. It's like a guy and he's like jumping around the shopping mall doing like flips in America, and like I just remember like seeing him do like a wall flip when you run up the wall and do a backflip. I watched that video as a kid so many times. I was like, I want to be this guy.
That's
like
Prince of Persia.
Yeah, literally. Like I was like,
it's
and I love that game. But I think every kid loves Prince of Persia.
Man, so good.
But it's like seen that video a million times. I was like, I need to be this guy. Like I need to do these things.
I mean, it is really interesting how like, you know, you're growing up, you're a young guy, you're gaming. There is a desire to kind of emulate what you see in movies and games. But then this weird thing then happens where it's like, now you are doing things that are being put inside games.
Yeah, it's weird.
So talk to me about that, because that's fascinating.
It's weird. Like parkour's became a huge thing in games of like the last probably 10 years, because it makes so much sense. Like if you've got characters that are supposed to do all this cool stuff, it's like to get them doing parkour like makes complete sense. And now it's actually a thing that people can watch and study it. And now parkour is at the point where you can use motion capture. So it's like you can actually replicate movements that are real and put them in the game. So it's like it's pretty sick. It makes perfect sense when you think about it, because it's almost like superhero vibes, like, but it's doable. Like it's realistic. It's not like you're Spiderman, you're swinging from a building to another. Yeah, it's like you're actually just jumping between gaps and stuff that's actually possible. So I think that's. And
are you allowed to talk about some of the
work you've done? So I did stuff with League of Legends, which is the world's biggest online game. I've worked with them, was a character in the game, me, Ed Scott and Travis Fergie, which is 2 other professional parkour athletes. We did a job for them, Warner Brothers, and then we filmed also a campaign, which was like an advert for a new expansion in the game. So we were like, I was like waking up at 5:30 every morning, get my hair spiked up and hairspray blue. Like, so it was like getting like an hour and a half of makeup on, epic. And then just basically like they give us a big setup and just like trying to do sick stuff on it, and they just filmed it. And as I said, it was like a advert for an expansion of the game that was coming out. So that was cool.
So the motion map and stuff, like you're then like getting like some sort of like, you're wearing like a suit.
Yeah, it's just like it's a string of wires, and then it like I don't know. It's very complex. I don't know how that works, but it basically tracks the motions of your body, and then they just can recreate that digitally. And they can just through a character. It's like they see it on like almost like imagine like a green screen. Like they just see it, and your body's just a shell, and it's just like they can track what you're doing. I don't know. But it's cool, yeah. So that's how they do it. So when you even see a character, for example, running in a game, like someone has been doing that, like someone's done the running, like, and they've tracked that off someone's actual movement. Yeah. So it looks, at least a little bit realistic.
The way in a video game, like at the start, especially kind of like Adventure Quest type stuff.
Oh yeah, Adventure Quest.
You can like. Oh, not actually Adventure Quest. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's OG.
that's something else.
That's 2D.
That is 2D. Yeah. It's like a really crap version of Pokemon.
Man, that's a very good description of what it is, actually.
Start of a video game, you can like customize your character, right? Yeah. So you can make it look kind of whatever way you want. But then you also can like, let's say you're given like, I don't know, 20 units, and you can distribute the units.
Stat points. Yeah, that was cool. Yeah. You used to get that in like the Tony Hawk games and stuff.
Yeah. So if you are a video game character, you in real life, right? Where are your stat points being attributed to? Is it like strength? Is it speed? Is it
probably evenly distributed between them all? Yeah, probably. I don't know. It depends what the categories are, doesn't it? So,
what makes you unique in the parkour world?
I got strong legs, so people always say I'm real springy. So, like, I think that's why my clips have done quite well over the past like load of years. Because I don't know.
What is it about the springiness that
I think
makes us feel a certain kind of way?
People just like it. Like I always get comments like, "Oh, this guy's knees are made of rubber," and like it's like bouncing from one thing. So I'll try and make no wasted space. So like say there's like a space of concrete and I'm doing like a load of moves, I'll just do like 3 flips in the space and then keep the movements going. It's like, and if you're springy, it's easy to do that because like you can just like flip here, flip there, flip here. So I think people like, it's visually satisfying, I think, for people to watch that. And even people who don't do parkour, it's easier to engage with because as I said, it's very snappy. It's very, keeps your attention. Yeah. Whereas if you see someone do a jump, then they run for 10 seconds and then they do another jump, it's like people just scroll past that, especially in today, like TikTok and Reels and stuff. Like you have no, and I even find myself doing it. I even on TikTok, like I'll be scrolling and I'll literally just see something, I'll look at it for like a second, I'll start talking, and I'll just scroll past it. Like, cause if it hasn't engaged me in that first second, you know, I'm gone. So even I'm guilty of it, so I can understand why. Yeah, and so I'd say that's what I'm known for, and that's helped me. That's been positive. Yeah,
I remember back when we were training. So obviously you would have been like filming stuff while we were training. I remember it was just like a running joke that he always got it right. It got like a good clip.
Yeah.
The second time, like he tried it.
I always get it pretty quickly, but
then
I'm never happy.
25 takes because he could just like shave like 10 milliseconds off somewhere in terms of the springiness, jumping between stuff, and it was snappy. It was always
experience now is you just do it twice and done.
It's like rap. It's like it's like I'm definitely someone who'd be a perfectionist in parkour. Like I'd be like, as Mark's saying, like I would maybe get it. Like by most people's standards, I'd probably get the challenge or the jumps or the line, whatever, maybe good on the second, third try. But then I'm like, oh, one more. And everyone's like, oh, here we go. One more. Because it's never, Mark knows, it's never one more.
You're standing there holding the camera, 30 takes deep.
Yeah. Just 40 minutes later, I'm still going. I'm like watching the clips back. I'm like, oh, it's just not fast enough. It's not fast enough. So yeah, it's like that way of like, you want it to be as good as physically possible for yourself, and you want to watch the clip back with complete satisfaction. So
is there any kind of like scandal in the parkour world where it's like, you know the way I say, what's an example? Like Instagram models will get caught photoshopping their body. Is there any people that's like, oh, he sped that bit up there, that's not actually his running speed?
There has been little things like that in videos where people have cut, like, so say they've done a cut in the middle of a jump and like they've switched to another angle, and then it's like, oh. But this was more like in YouTube content years ago. Like Instagram, I'm happy to say in parkour that wouldn't really be a thing. Yeah. Because as you say, it's like it's phone content. So it's like you just film with your phone, and then. But back in the days of YouTube, there was videos that I really looked up to, and then I found out like a couple of years ago, they were like, yeah, you know, that was fake. Like they edited the mats out, or like they filmed it from an angle where you couldn't see that he actually landed on mats and stuff. So there is some of that, and like, yeah, people would do a jump and halfway through they would cut to another angle. But then it would be like, oh, but did he actually do it then? Because the cut, you can't really tell. Like he's doing this insane jump and then it cuts and he lands completely perfectly. And it's like maybe unrealistic. So there has been little bits like that, but not too much compared to like people like, as you say, like Instagram models like editing their photos and stuff, and like not too much like that. Luckily, we're pretty honest, I feel like, in parkour as a sport.
A sport of integrity.
Yeah,
interesting. Talk to me about Britain's Got Talent. That's pretty mad.
Yeah, so I did Britain's Got Talent again with the two lads I just mentioned, Ed Scott and Travis Fergie. So we were invited on through other work, which is every time I tell people that, like, what, you got invited on? I was like, yeah, but it makes sense because they want different talents. Like they don't want to just, you know, singers, dancers, whatever it is. Like they want something to make it exciting. So they came to us with Parkour Performance. They built us a setup. We gave them some designs of stuff, and then just went and did it. It's so funny because there's actually a vlog on YouTube made by my friend Travis, and like we didn't do any practice. So we made the performance because we didn't have the setup. Yeah. So we don't have the setup. We don't have a replica stage of what it was going to be like in the theater. So we made it. There's a video, and we made it in the lines in the car park. Like, so we're like running around at 7 a.m. on the morning of the performance, like going, right, you're going to jump here and you're going to jump here, and then we're going to cross over and we're going to swing on this and swing on that. And they still didn't even know like if it was even possible because we hadn't seen the setup. Yeah. But luckily when we got there, they did an amazing job, and the setup was like to a T. Wow. The dimensions that we give them. So it just worked. And like, it's that thing as well where like, I don't know how impressive other people find parkour because I'm doing parkour, and like I'm not desensitized to it, but like if it's something that is normal for you. So we did the performance. And like we flipped off the last block, and I've rolled and I've came out, and Simon's standing up clapping. And I was like, as soon as I saw that, it's like, seeing that, I was like, oh, we've done it, lads, we've done it. if Simon's impressed, like it's pretty much. And then I got 4 yeses on the audition.
Class.
And just like left the stage being like, I can't believe like we went from this morning being like, didn't even know what we were gonna do to like getting the 4 yeses, and then like, went on to the semi final. So we got put straight through the semi, and then did that, which was also like pretty sick. The only problem was that they wouldn't build us any more stuff. We had a couple real sick ideas, but we wanted to break, like, an idea we had was break 3 world records, parkour world records on the stage, but they were just like, yeah, we can't do that. We're like, well, it's not that hard to do that. All we need is, like, boxes and space them apart, and we'll try and break 3 of the different types of jumps, but... And then the other one, like, yeah, they wouldn't... Even the first time, they built us, like, a good bar setup to swing on, but the second time, they're like, yeah, we don't want to build anything on the stage. So what we ended up doing was we went out of the building and did, like, a whole routine outside, but it was pre-recorded, obviously, but it said that in the... airing on TV anyway, which was kind of cool for us because it meant we got to do things that were a little bit harder that you could do in more than one take instead of having to do like a massive one shot. And there's funny because there's some people who still believed it was a one shot. I was like, it's outrageous. I don't know if you've seen it, Mark, but because you've done parkour, you would know, like, if you did parkour that this could never be a one shot. But like people thought we genuinely like did the performance, because we did a performance on the stage, like flipped from the balconies down at the start, did some flips on the stage, ran out the doors, and then like we're doing like double flips off like the roof and stuff, and like then we ran back in and did the rest of it, and like people actually believed that it was one shot.
It's one of those things you can do them all individually.
But you could do like, you could probably do it realistically in 2 halves. Like if you were on 100% the best day of your life, you could do it.
But it was like, always the same. Like you always said when you were doing stuff like. When you were saying about being desensitized to it, like you would have been out of training session, there maybe would have been 100 backflips that day.
That's what I mean.
You know, so you get used to it.
You don't see like, we don't see it how other people do, because even in that semi-final again we got 4 yeses, and like the judges' reaction was amazing. I think what's
interesting to that is like there's those individual bits, all easy enough. String them together in a row, and that's where the skill is.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes back to the kind of jumping between, or your springiness between all the moves. It was always the space between the tricks.
Yeah, you connect how you can connect that. That's what I think engages people, because you see that, and then it's like it's satisfying to watch. It's like just like spring.
Really,
it's like frog, I suppose. But yeah, as I said, the reaction from the Britain's Got Talent thing was crazy. Like, for the judges to actually love it that much was weird. Like, it was, I just didn't expect that. Like,
mate, what do you have left to do in your life? And from The Weakest Link, Simon Cowell. It's like, mate, who's left?
When we finished the performance too, Simon Cowell was right in front of Simon. We did a backflip to finish in front of the stage. He like stood up and like she grabbed my hand and all. I was like shaking my hand. I was
unbelievable.
Like, left, and I was like shook him hand to hold his hand. That's one of the biggest flexes of my whole life. So.
You just need to go and Graham Norton now or something like that.
We'd love it. Yeah, we'd love it.
Who else is left? Very cool. That's really interesting what you guys said about stringing the bits together. Like, it's not about like, not anyone can, but lots of people could do one bit, but it's the real skill is being able to connect it all
together. I think that's
fascinating.
That's where the real training comes in. I think it's like taking it to the next level. It's like, even if you compare it to like again skateboarding, it's like, okay, you can ollie this stair step. It's like, but if you go into a park and you're in a competition, can you do 10 real good tricks in a row, like in a line? That's where the actual skill is. I think that's when it comes down to all the practice comes really together, because it's like, you're putting all the elements in, as Mark said, like you're at a spot and there'll be all different types of movements, and it's how you can condense that and like make every movement interesting, so there's no wasted space where it's like a little bit boring. I just try and make it like, if I've got a gap and I have to do 5 side flips in the gap in a row and then jump on another wall, I'll do it. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's
it's cool.
Something that makes it different.
One of my favorite quotes is, "It's the space in between the notes that make the music."
Well, there you go. Perfect.
There's something about that. I really, really enjoy that. Okay, landing the plane, wrapping up. Our handymen are back, I think.
Can hear them next door.
Do you hear them, do you?
Yeah, we bet.
The boys, the legends.
They'll come through the ceiling in a minute.
Yeah, I know. These ninjas will drop down and be like, what the heck's going on in here, guys? There's I think, I'm not a skateboarder at all. I've talked a lot about skateboarding today. Please don't let anyone
No, it's a very good
lead me to think that I actually know anything about that world. But I watched actually a Tony Hawk thing recently, and I couldn't even tell you the trick. I think the trick was maybe like
It's 900. It's about I don't think I've seen it, but he's like very famous for being the first person to do 900.
Bro, he just like psychicked me right there.
It is.
That's exactly what it is. It's a 900.
I've been like, I watch a lot of skateboarding and other urban sports anyway, so I know that like it was a huge deal.
So the setup was like he was there on some sort of a ramp, and it was a live event, and there was maybe like, I don't know, was there 500,000 people there?
It's X Games, so it's like the biggest extreme sports competition.
He was there to do a trick that no one had ever done before.
Yeah.
And no, like everyone had tried, no one could do it, and it took him like something mad, like 100 tries. And the 100th try, he did it, and he's like, his knees were nearly broken.
Yeah, but when you have that adrenaline, man, it's just like when you get that close to something, like it's like, you need to keep going. Like there's nothing in your mind that would be like, I need to stop. It's like, I'm this close to getting it. Like if I just...
But I was totally blown away by that. And the thing, and this has happened loads of times in sports and in all endeavors in life. No one had ever done it. They've been trying for 10 years. He does it, and then like in next to no
Other
time at
people
all, somebody else does it.
But I was about to say,
just crazy.
do you know what's insane now? So he did a 900, and he was the first person to ever do it, right? A 13-year-old kid a couple of years ago did a 1260 on the same ramp. At 13,
The same ramp?
At 13. So it's like, you think about like, but that's just the evolution of sport. But as you say, like, it's crazy because like I actually did the world's first double side flip in parkour on floor. So I did a double side flip on the floor, and no one had ever done it before. And it was like a massive thing that blew up. But as you say, it's the exact same. And then like it took like a couple months, and then someone else did it.
Some 60-year-old woman does it.
Then another couple of months, someone else did it, and then another, because the evolution of sport, sometimes you need to see that it's possible to actually do it. Like you need to see someone do something, and then it's like unlocked in your mind.
Wow.
It's like a similar thing you hear about like Mount Everest. Like people died so many times trying to climb it, and now they have a company that collects rubbish on the way up.
Yeah,
it's just
it's
because
became
one
that
guy
standard.
showed.
Yeah, it's became that standard. Someone's running about with a litter picker and just
because there's so many people heading up and down now, whereas it was once seen as near impossible.
Yeah. I would say, is it what was the mile? Was it the 4-minute mile or 3-minute mile? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's 3 minutes.
It's 3-minute mile.
I think.
So it's like, no one did that.
Don't quote me.
And then they did it, and then now it just
it's
buys
standard,
her. Yeah.
Because I think it's just.
Oh, nice
thing.
flex, bro.
Yeah, it's just that thing. Like exactly, it's like a mental unlock in your brain. It's like, well, someone's done it, so if they can do it, someone else can surely do it, and it's just. And again, evolution of sport, things will always get more insane. Things are always being pushed further all the time, so it's just it's really interesting.
I'm a walking Instagram quote machine today, but another one of our favourite quotes here, Best of Belfast, is from a previous guest, right? So she was brought up in a wee small place called Siam Mills in Northern Ireland. She became an engineer, blah, blah, blah. She's like the CEO of like $1 billion company now in Silicon Valley.
Unbelievable.
Sarah Fryer.
Unbelievable.
She was involved in setting this place up. And one of her big things is you can't be what you can't see.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for this conversation because I'm inspired by guys like you who are being things so that younger guys can see it, so that they can then go to the next part, if that makes sense.
Because you have to go, someone has to go for it. That's the whole thing. Doesn't matter if it's in parkour and whatever, someone has to be the person who thinks, I'm going to do it. Because there was no other professionals for me in parkour from Northern Ireland or Ireland, so it was like, or whatever, so like, for that to happen, even in my mind, I was like, it's probably not possible. Like, no one's gonna. I think you automatically think you're predisposed, being from Northern Ireland, that you're at some sort of disadvantage because you're in a small. And to a degree, it is true, especially in sport. It's definitely harder to be recognised in any sport being from here. Say if you're in mainland UK or whatever. But it's then you need to just be the person to push that and think, well, if I can be as good or better than other people, then surely you can make the things happen that you want to happen. So yeah,
legend.
That's it. It's a good quote. That's a good quote.
Shoulders of giants, lads. Let's do it.
You can't be what you can't see. I like that one. I'm gonna remember that. You can't be what you can't see. That's good.
George, thanks for your time.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on.
Really appreciate it. Roscoe, Mark, appreciate it. And catch you again next time, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Unreal.
We're done.
Awesome. Happy days.
Man, that was killer.